Hi,
How are you?
I'm fine. We've had a letter from Emily down in Walton,
Okay.
and she wants some answers to questions that people have sent about the Mount Felix Tapestry.
Well, I shall try to answer them if I can.
Okay, I shall have a seat.
Take your time.
Well, the first question they have for you is about the designs in the panels. You've got 44 panels there, and they are all quite in a cohesive set, but yet each one is very unique and individual. Is that something you aimed for, or is that something that just happened as you went along?
Well, no. The whole thing is designed on a grid, which I'll go into maybe later on. But each panel has.
Let's have a look.
We did a rough storyline at the beginning, which is here, which is I'll show you an example of. That's it there. So that's one of the pages, and which we decided with Emily and our team, and then we left gaps. So if we wanted people to come forward with ideas and stories, because we knew they were out there, and then there was an event in Walton where lots of people brought photographs and things in, and then I had to sort of collate that information, photograph it, research it all, and then I would start to develop these into bigger drawings. So for instance, say for instance, there's this one or there's this one. Everyone has a little folder, and there's all these drawings, and there's little bits of research in them, and there's little postcards that have been sent to me. That's a good example here, right at the very front. There's loads of them. It's quite a job. It doesn't happen overnight. That's the problem with these things. So just hold a second. So for instance, so there's this nice. So if you see that there, see when you want something to happen, it doesn't happen. There you go. So there's a little postcard there that I found, which was put into the tapestry. So there's loads of these, and that's the sort of that's hours and hours of work, and there's pages of research and all sorts of things in there. Does that make sense?
So some of the stories that you must have heard and been involved with must have been very moving. Were there any that moved you more than others?
Well, yes. I mean, for example, this is a good example. The romances that came out of Mount Felix are really nice, and so I was able to, based on all the research, which is back here. Now, Carol has to keep me corrected because I keep making mistakes and not speaking in sentences, so please forgive me. But that's a really good example of one of the moving stories and the legacy that came out of Mount Felix. But of course, the other side is the actual is the casualties and the horrific injuries that many of these men had. So it's I found that really moving, because it was so vast and it was so overwhelming and so horrific and nightmarish. When you really got into it, it was something you didn't really want to. It was how do you show that in an attractive way, but also honour them at the same time. It was a real challenge.
So a bit different then from the other war story you did, which was the Battle of Prestonpans.
Yeah, the Battle of Prestonpans was a completely different sort of scenario, really, and Gallipoli is much more in recent memory. So you've got lots of grandchildren, descendants of these men and women, and also you've got the scale of the brutality was also in there as well. But of course, the other side, of course, all the time was the healing and the nurses, and the one big thing I had to get right all the time was the nurses' uniforms and the uniforms of the soldiers, and getting a slouch hat correct was really a big thing, and getting the right rifles and getting the right nurses' equipment and getting everything absolutely spot on took a lot of time.
So how do you make sure that each one of your tapestries looks different and has its own identity? Like, you can tell straight away the Mount Felix Tapestry from the Diaspora or the Battle of Preston Pans. How do you keep them different?
Well, that's because of the grid system, which you see here. The grid is, although this is the same as the Scottish Diaspora, it has a different format. So what you've got is you've got these two squares, or there could be shapes there, and then you've got these sort of flowers going round them, and they could change into barbed wire or all sorts of things. But the basic structure, so when you put them all together, they look as though that they're the same thing. They're not the other tapestries. And yeah, I think that's roughly. So there's the front cover. So that's a really good example. That shows you that was the structure of the Mount Felix tapestry.
Can you show us the linen that you've worked on, Andrew?
Yeah, the linen is this really nice linen from Kirkcaldy, Scotland, and it's called the Scour 263, and it's from the company's called Scottish Linen now. It's a really nice linen.
Did you find it difficult working on this when everybody was down in Walton and you were up here?
No, not really, because it's just the same as the other tapestries. Walton's no nearer or further away than Canada, Australia, New Zealand, or the Hebrides in Scotland, or whatever. I mean, it's very portable, this idea.
So you got the panels off to the people through the post?
Yes, and that's partly why it was 1 metre square, because it was all very postable.
Half a metre.
Half a metre, see?
Keep you right?
Keep me right, absolutely. And also, it's a manageable size for when people take it home to stitch, and groups can also stitch in it. It's quite a nice size, and it's not too intimidating. The bigger ones are really intimidating.
What would you like to see happen to the tapestry now?
Well, first of all, I would like to see it, and second, I would like people to really enjoy the creativity of the stitchers, because I think when you stand there in front of it and you see it's all been hand stitched and it's all been backed, it's all been got ready for presentation, the organisation that's gone behind it, but fundamentally it's the stitching, it's the love, the care from the stitchers that's gone into it is absolutely awesome, and I think that needs to be celebrated. I'd also like to see as many people as possible can see it, of course, and hopefully it will tour, and also hopefully it will go to New Zealand, and hopefully finally it pays respect to everybody and the stories involved. Much respect to everybody in this project.
Okay, would you like to say goodbye to the stitchers?
I would like to say to the stitchers goodbye, and without the stitching, these projects don't exist, so I owe you an awful lot. So thank you very much, and I shall see you hopefully very soon. Bye. I need to get back to work.